Hello, 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 my friends, and welcome again to Me, Mom, and Dad. This is episode 16. Praise the Lord. I'm so thankful to be able to do these podcasts. It's so fun sharing and talking. I am Tia. My dad is Harold. My mom is Gloria, and the three of us are roommates. Of course, I am their daughter, and my dad is 84 and a half. He'll be 85 in May. My mom is 82, and I am blah, 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 still 39 a couple of times over. Ha ha. We're sharing our daily journeys. The three of us, our daily journeys with faith and joy. This podcast started out with me sharing to the Parkinson's community our information of what we've learned, the good and the bad, but a lot of great information on dealing with Parkinson's, which my dad has Parkinson's for any new listeners. And that's how this podcast started. So we call it Me, Mom, and Dad because it's not just about Parkinson's. It turned out to just be a positive podcast. And also, we're great cooks in our family. And it turned out that we share recipes. So later, I'll be sharing short rib ragu and possibly banana nut bread. Yes, banana nut bread. So stay tuned for those recipes. Uh, that's how this podcast turned out to be several fun things. And I just got back from Wendy's, the fast food restaurant, with my dad. He and I went for a walk in the park, which I will share. I always like to share an interview with a friend or a family member. I'll record an interview with them and share it on the podcast. And so today, my dad and I went for a beautiful walk in the park. And then he likes to go to Wendy's. My dad is 84 and a half. He gets to do what he wants. His thing for years is for us to take him to Wendy's and get 4 Frosties with lids on them. He puts them in the freezer. I know. My mom and I just roll our eyes because he's always, can I go to Wendy's? And we're like, ugh. But we take him because what do we have to complain about? Nothing. And so we just got back from getting his 4 Frosties. You say, why 4? Because they put them in a container. When we get more than 4, we spill them all over the car. They melt. I know it's fun. My dad just got back, just finished this week with his 6-month neurologist checkup. For any new listeners, this is big news for our Parkinson's listeners. Parkinson's patients go to a neurologist because Parkinson's is a lot to do with the brain. And so he just got back from his 6 months, and praise the Lord, it was a great 6-month checkup. They do all kind of little tests. He has to like button a make pretend shirt, button up the buttons, and they time him. And it's been 5 years. I looked at the date. I wasn't sure of the date of when my dad first got diagnosed. Turns out it was 5 years ago that he got diagnosed, and they keep a record of every 6 months of how he's doing to make sure he's not getting worse. And they see that this time he is getting better and he's doing great. The doctor was very impressed with him. He buttons the buttons. He writes his signature. If his signature is trembly, but his signature is always was beautiful, and it was beautiful this time. I was a nervous daughter sitting like, come on, Dad, come on, button those buttons. And he buttoned them in a minute and 7. No, last time was a minute and 7. This time was a minute and 10 seconds. Not too bad. And they watch him walk. They time him walking to make sure he's walking. And the doctor said, "You're doing great." And that's because of the exercise. The doc is very impressed with that. And he knows it's because of the exercise. And on every episode, I repeat exercise, exercise, exercise. For any new Parkinson's friends who have loved ones, or maybe you're going through a Parkinson's deal, exercise is the key. Exercise, exercise, my friend, is what keeps my dad's body going. The last 6 months, the medication for Parkinson's patients is cortidopa, levodopa. We call it the yellow pill because it's yellow every time we get it from the pharmacist. And the last time they wanted us to try 1.5 yellow pills. And we like to share information to you guys. When we were doing the 1.5 pills, it was making my dad very dizzy. So that seemed like it was way too much. My mom and I had to keep questioning him. We didn't realize it was that dizzy. We just thought he was having more wobbly legs, as we call it. He might have a little wobbly leg tremor when he stands up. My mom and I call it wobbly legs. And he doesn't do it all the time, but it seems like when he was on the 1.5 pill, that it was a lot more. And it turns out, once we questioned my dad, he was dizzy. So before we went to the doctor, my mom and I took him off ourselves, the 1.5 pill, once we understood what he was saying to us with him being dizzy. We took him off the yellow 1.5 and just went back to giving him 1 pill 3 times a day. And so this week the doctor said, I don't want you guys on a 1.5 pill anymore. Do 3 pills. We do 6 a.m., 11 a.m., and 3 p.m. Those are the times. And he said, I want you to try a half a pill, 7 p.m., a couple of hours after dinner. And that it seems to be working fantastic. He said that half a pill in the evening, he doesn't go to bed till like around 10. It'll really help his body move. So that's a bit of information. It really is. This week was our first week trying the half pill at 7 p.m. My mom and I kind of were a little nervous about giving it to him in the evening because sometimes the medication can cause delusions. But he's doing great on that half a pill at 7. So he's on 3.5 yellow pills, and so far he's doing great, my friends. This information, of course, is for our Parkinson's friends sharing. Exercise is the key. So let's take a listen to my dad and I went for a short walk this week. And I recorded us walking in this beautiful park near us. So here is my dad and I taking a short walk, my friends. Did you enjoy us?
Oh, yeah.
You went out, came to hear me singing at the club?
Yeah.
You were hanging out late, too.
Yeah.
You wanted to stay, didn't you?
Yeah.
You and Mommy hanging out late, partying.
We wasn't partying, but we wasn't in no hurry to go home.
No. Yeah, it was good. It was a good crowd there when you guys left. It's a beautiful day. It's supposed to be winter, but it is spring-like, huh?
Yep.
Like 75 degrees. Mm-hmm. What else you want to say? You enjoy having Debbie visiting?
Yeah, I always like Debbie. Because she enjoys herself, just being away from the kids and away from her husband.
Who is your son?
Who is
your
my
crazy son.
But
You just love having folks.
Yeah.
Why you like having people coming?
Well, they bring news about what's going on. Not that I want to know,
But it's nice.
but it's nice.
And you be laughing and cooking.
Mm-hmm.
She's supposed to be cooking. But she bought the food for us to do the cooking.
Yeah.
You love this park?
Yeah. This is a good part.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mr. Valentine's. Oh, but I sent you Happy Valentine's.
Oh yeah.
You saw, did you see the picture? Daddy and I are here walking in the park again. Daddy, say hello to the listeners. Say hello.
Hello, listeners.
It is the day after Valentine's. Did you have a great Valentine's?
Yep, had a real great time.
What'd you get?
I got strawberries. I got candy. I got a lot of other
That little
stuff.
teddy bear.
Little teddy bear with paydays.
Payday candy bars.
Payday candy bars.
Yeah. And you don't like paydays no more? You don't like pay?
Yeah, I like paydays.
Because you said, why did we get you paydays? Remember you said that?
Yeah, I remember saying that.
Watch, look up, okay? Right here. We're in the beautiful park again. Who's visiting you at your house? Who's visiting you?
Visiting me is my daughter-in-law
Yep.
and
Her friend,
her friend,
Carla.
Carl.
Do you need this? Beautiful park. Me and Daddy. Try just a little bit. Go both hands. There you go. And it is a beautiful day, the day after Valentine's. And that's that. We are out. There you go, my friends. My dad and I in the beautiful park. As he mentioned, as we were walking, my sister-in-law, and she brought a good buddy of hers. They took a girl trip, and they drove down here to visit us, and it's a fun time. As I've mentioned in past podcasts, we, as a family, years ago, when my dad was first diagnosed, we all agreed to visit more to keep my dad's spirits up, and my mom and I too, to keep our spirits up. But just to keep joy in his heart, and folks are always visiting. Like every month we have folks, and we enjoy it. So it was my sister-in-law, who is my sister. I don't even like to say sister-in-law. She is truly my blood sister and a good friend of hers, and that's how we started sharing recipes. We're always in the kitchen cooking. So let me share with you our first recipe, short rib, which we made with my sister-in-law. It's a big pot, kind of like spaghetti. You can make a big pot for the whole family. And man, it's so good. Short rib ragu. Those of you who cook, you know what a ragu is, but not everybody cooks. This ragu is kind of like a spaghetti sauce. And it's delicious, my friends. So here's how you do it. You want to prepare, some call it Trinity, which is carrots, onions, and celery. Okay, you want to chop up carrots. I think in Italian they say sofrito, and different, a lot of cultures do the same Trinity. Chopped up carrots, celery, onions. And for this, you will have chopped up garlic. You don't even have to chop them up. I get the processor, the food processor, and just take your stalks of celery, maybe break in 2 or 3, throw them in the processor, take your carrots, peel them, peel that dirty stuff off. I peel those, put those in the processor, Cut up an onion in maybe fours, put in the processor, and maybe 2 cloves of garlic put in the processor. Pulse the processor, and the processor will mince up these vegetables. Mince means very finely chopped. Okay, you're going to take a like a Dutch oven or some kind of big pot Dutch oven type big pot, and buy a like a pound or two. I had about a pound and a half of short ribs, beautiful short ribs we get from the butcher. And in your Dutch oven or your nice boiling pot, take your olive oil and put olive oil in the pan, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and start that pan heating up. Once you see the pan is like medium hot, you salt and pepper your short ribs. Salt and pepper on all sides. Place your short ribs in the olive oil and let them get golden brown. It'll take a minute or 2 or 3. Not a minute. I don't know why I said a minute. Couple minutes. You're going to brown on all sides. For all sides, it might take a good 5 minutes. You'll see them be beautifully brown. And once they're brown, take the short ribs out and place on a plate. Then put in your minced vegetables from the processor. Put in the oil, and it will sizzle up these vegetables. Okay. Some people just don't let them sizzle up, but I like to let the flavor come out for like a minute of the onion, celery, and those minced vegetables you just had in the processor. Let them saute up for a minute, and then pour in you need red wine. Pour in a cup of red wine. Okay, friends, wink, wink. I maybe use 2 cups. Pour in at least a cup and a half of red wine into your minced vegetables. Then take a can of crushed tomatoes. Pour in. And then take some rosemary. Take some sprigs of rosemary and put into the sauce. That is it. Put back in to the sauce, the red wine. Put your short ribs in there and put the top on. Put on low heat for 3 hours. So flavorful, so simple, but the flavor of the short ribs and the beef. Oh man, friends. And then you want to take some pasta. After the 3 hours, you boil up your favorite pasta. Linguine, spaghetti. I like to use a long pasta, my friends. Okay? We use, when my sister-in-law was here, we used a linguine. Or fettuccine or spaghetti, your favorite pasta, but I like a long, not a curly short pasta. But you can if you'd like. And once you're ready to serve, after the 3 hours, when you're ready to serve, have your pasta ready and put your sauce and give everybody the short ribs will fall off the bone. They will have fallen off the bone. For 3 hours, you can pull the bones out. You know you're going to eat some of those bones, my friends. And you'll see the meat will have fallen off the bone. And it is delicious. Short rib ragu. You're welcome. Again, this is a repeat. People love this recipe, banana nut bread. Here's the ingredients. We have 2 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, 1 cup of sugar, 4 very ripe bananas. Sometimes my mom will buy bananas, and if my dad or I or whoever can get to the bananas, they start to turn black. We don't throw them away. We put them in a Ziploc bag and put them in the freezer. And when I'm ready to make banana nut bread, I take them out, let them defrost. The best banana bread. Ugly looking black bananas, but the sugars and the juices. So don't ever throw them away, my friends. Oh, guess what that is? I mentioned in the past podcast that my mom and I have alarms. That is my dad's time for his pill, his yellow pill. It's important we have alarms because he will take the pill. He'll wait 2 hours to eat. That's how the yellow pill absorbs so well in his body. So I apologize for that. That was my dad's. I have an alarm, and my mom has an alarm. So when I'm with him, it goes off. She's with him while I'm doing the podcast, and she'll give it to him. Just a little info, my friends. Back to 4 very ripe bananas. 1 teaspoon vanilla, half cup of vegetable oil, 1 teaspoon cinnamon. Those are the ingredients. Please preheat your oven on 350 degrees. In a medium bowl, combine your flour, baking soda. I usually have it in a bowl or a plate on the side. All my dry ingredients, baking soda, baking powder, salt. Have that flour mixture, dry mixture, sitting aside. In a large bowl, cream your 2 eggs and your sugar. Cream, 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 cream. Mix, 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 mix. So cream up. Stir in your mashed banana. Stir and mash your bananas into the egg and sugar. And add your vanilla and add your oil and your cinnamon into the creamed eggs and sugar. And slowly add your flour mixture, a third at a time. And there you go. Pour this batter into, I like to use a 9x5 loaf pan, but it works in any pan that you like. But I use a loaf pan for my banana nut bread. And I add a cup of any nuts that you like, chopped nuts. Um, and pour into your greased. I like a grease the loaf pan. Spray with some spray, or if you like to spread a little oil around, but I use the spray can, spray around the loaf and pour in your batter. This will bake about 1 hour in 350, depending on how hot your oven gets. So check it after an hour and stick a toothpick in the middle to check. And if batter comes out, you have to keep cooking for a few more minutes. Banana nut bread. Hope you enjoyed the recipes. And remember to exercise, exercise, exercise. That tends to be for my mom and I as well. You know, even if we don't have Parkinson's, exercise is the miracle for us. It's the miracle for my dad. And the three of us as roommates, we just keep the faith, keep our head up with whatever we are going through, and keep having fun. I mentioned earlier my dad wanting his 4 Wendy's Frosties. Uh, it's like he's 10 years old again, but why not? We get him his 4 Frosties because that's what gives him such joy, joy, joy. And we hope that you all will keep the faith. That's why we share this podcast, to keep your heads up through anything you're going through. Uh, every day is not a party for us. Every day we have our challenges with watching over my dad and his Parkinson's, but we're very thankful and very blessed that he's not in a wheelchair. When we were walking in the park, you just heard us. That particular day, he wanted to go to the park, but I didn't notice. I noticed he wasn't as strong as he is most days. So I took, the little walker that you push and you can walk. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to carry this just in case. And he didn't say anything. We started walking and he grabbed it, the walker. He was like, I'm going to use it. And it made him feel confident and he wasn't ashamed of it. We see our friends on the trail that we are regular friends, and we sat on the first bench, we call it. And I said, lazily, I was like, Dad, you ready to go back to the car? And he was like, well, since I have this thing, he meant the walker, pointing to the walker. I'm gonna go to the second bench because I feel good with this. And I was like, okay. And I didn't go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I could watch him as he was going forward. I could keep an eye on him, and he was flying with that walker. And the second time we went, we didn't need to have the walker. It's just that particular day. As I mentioned before, we were on that 1.5 uh, yellow pill, and he was dizzy, but my mom and I had to figure out that it was him being dizzy. So he's much stronger in his body since the doctor got us off that 1.5 pill. And just keep the faith, my friends. Keep the faith is what we always say, and keep the joy and happiness with family and friends. That's why we cook. We get together as a family in the kitchen, family and friends, and we just laughing and shooting the breeze. We are hope you enjoy our podcast. Please subscribe to our podcast and make any comments. You can also email me and chat if you'd like. Up the top of the where you're listening, you can subscribe by clicking that Wi-Fi kind of icon. I believe that's how you can subscribe. And also, you can email me by hitting the little mail thing. Thank you for listening, my friends. Episode 16. Look forward to episode 17. And thank you for listening. Please enjoy the music.